Around 40 years after the video game debuted on the Famicom Disk System, Shigeru Miyamoto's The Legend of Zelda is as confirmed by Nintendo's president Shuntaro Furukawa on its way to the big screen as a live-action movie, meaning actors filmed in real-life locations unless they shoot the entire thing on blue screen. No, who are we kidding? This is a majority team, so more than 50% financed by Nintendo production, and they know that to succeed, they need to film on location and have the actors out in the wild. Fitting scale and immersion, just like in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, so that the actors can shed real tears in the open air. Filmed in actual forests, temples, dungeons and shrines, medieval towns, or similar sets to the big castle town, and maybe even use an actual castle for Hyrule Castle, which is as made for a live-action Zelda movie, with an imposing courtyard and chambers that include a bedroom which reminds us of Zelda's bedroom in Breath of the Wild. Volcano for Death Mountain, Alpine Mountain Range for Hebra, Lake for Lake Hylia, Desert for Gerudo, and so on. Legend of Zelda's Hyrule takes inspiration from locations all over the world, meaning that this movie might be shot in multiple continents. And it makes the creation of this movie possible with little to no CGI, saving that for combat, and the more fantastical element of this franchise. In the process, also creating future Zelda tourist destinations in our own world, much like we've seen in the case of Star Wars in the past. Either way, Nintendo seems to be picking shaky at live-action adaptation studios like Sony Pictures and producers like Avi Arad and his Arad Productions in order to assert near-total control, much like they did in the case of Universal and Illumination with their minions when it came to the animated Super Mario Bros. Movie. Universal naturally makes their own live-action movies and are famous for timeless classics. Still, they're not known for video game adaptations, adventure films, or in general movies set in a medieval fantasy setting. Nintendo likes to jump from place to place. We have seen this in the video game industry, where Sony was backstabbed when it came to the Nintendo PlayStation. And this behavior gave us Zelda CDI and will likely prevent Zelda from being a part of Super Nintendo World in the Universal Studios parks in Asia and America. It seems like the license there is mainly tied to Mario and related characters. But why only limit Universal to animated Mario movies? One word: experience. Sony Pictures have made video game to live-action movie adaptations of their own PlayStation franchises, Uncharted and Gran Turismo. Plus Sony Pictures isn't really Sony, but rather Columbia. This right here is probably why they didn't go for the obvious fantasy choice, Warner Bros. Studios, famous for the movie adaptations of the Harry Potter books and for a New Line Cinema, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. On the paper, the perfect candidate, which is probably not willing to grant Nintendo their dictatorial power in the writing and production, and also doesn't have any experience or interest in video game adaptations. Zelda creator Shigeru Miyamoto has been working on this project for several years, and has been in close touch with co-producer Avi Arad and director Wes Ball. Mr. Arad has had his fair share of ups and downs over the last 20 plus years, ranging from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy to Venom and Morbius. Two of these with hilarious dancing scenes tied to the Spider-Man universe. On the other hand, he has also produced the animated Oscar-winning Spider-Verse movies. Director Wes Ball, on the other hand, is known for the Maze Runner movie adaptations. Luckily for us, his Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes looks stunning. It is definitely an interesting mix, especially with Derek Connolly being reported to be the Zelda movie's writer. He is equally controversial as the writer of the Jurassic World trilogy and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, but at the same time, and more importantly for Nintendo, the good live-action Pokemon Detective Pikachu. He was also the co-writer with Colin Trevorrow of the unrealized Star Wars Duel of the Fates, a really good Star Wars script that destroys Rise of Skywalker with its ambition. And that is our saving grace, Nintendo with their financing, being in charge of this project and approving or disapproving ideas from any party involved. There is our guarantee that the Zelda movie will live up to Nintendo's famous seal of quality. At the same time, even they are facing a new challenge here, namely a deeper story and proper storytelling. An aspect of the Zelda franchise that has been downplayed in the last two games, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Super Mario Bros. Movie was only slightly more daring than the 3D Mario games, but The Legend of Zelda is an entirely different beast. We'll get to the Triforce of Courage towards the end of the video, But we have to begin with the Triforce of Power, the villain, by all indications, Ganondorf. In fact, the response you gave me on my Ganondorf in the movie tweet is what inspired me to make this video, and I really do hope they will give Ganondorf the depth he deserves in the Zelda movie, to a degree that he surpasses even the Wind Waker Ganondorf, the most fleshed out iteration of the humanoid Zelda villain. Yes, just yes. We need so much more of this spoken from a Mediterranean or Middle Eastern looking actor with the British or American accent in check. It doesn't need to be a Hollywood A-lister, but rather a powerful person with talent, just like the Gerudo turned Demon King himself. I would love Charles Dance, but to me, he only has Ganondorf's voice.
He's a very, very powerful man, probably the most powerful man, and as such, he doesn't need to throw his weight around.
Not appearance and stature. Besides, Zelda's all about diversity, so at least one of the three main roles should go to someone other than of Caucasian origin. Either way, Ganondorf deserves better writing and a bigger stage presence after Tears of the Kingdom. Yes, we need a strong, manipulative, and cunning, but also somewhat sympathetic presence. A blend of Loki and Thanos from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The ultimate movie villain. One we can both understand, hate, and fear, as he punches his way to notoriety for the Gerudo, but in truth, for himself. For our hearts by upholding the Sony Pictures tradition of dancing darkness. Suavemente, anyone? Moving on to the dancing partner, the second royal of this story. The title character, Princess Zelda, or the Triforce of Wisdom. And here I want to bring up Princess Peach from the Mario movie, a strong, courageous, and most of all responsible monarch who was perfectly voiced by Anya Taylor-Joy in English. Princess Zelda is something of that as well in Tears of the Kingdom, but the movie could bring it to the next level. It is already being speculated who could play the role of the goddess incarnated. One is Hunter Schafer, and I agree, she is perfect. Mainly as she's interested in playing the role.
I mean, yeah, that would be cool, like an elf, yeah. And I mean, I played that video game a bunch when I was a kid. That's such a good game.
And second, she has the look and voice. She can pull off any Zelda. Golden long-locked, tear short-haired, even serious to the core, Twilight Princess brunette. An overarching conflict between two rulers. And between them, the Triforce of Courage. Link, solving puzzles, and slicing down enemies in temples. The silent protagonist himself. How do you address him? For other characters like, say, Princess Zelda who join him as we saw in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom? Or is this movie the way Nintendo will introduce a talking, properly voice-acted Link in the future games? Many questions, but most going back to the casting of the hero. Tom Holland, or Spider-Man, has been speculated and AR rendered for years now, both when live action was tied to a Netflix series, but that ended up being The Witcher, with Superman, Henry Cavill. But back to the Zelda movie, as recently Mr. Holland has been connected. Still, I don't want this to happen. Tom Holland is just too closely associated with Sony's and Marvel's Spider-Man. And this is the thing, Link does not have to be an A-lister, but rather an up-and-coming talent who becomes an A-lister and household name with this movie, much like Tom Holland became for Spider-Man. And it is the up-and-coming that has made so many franchises like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and even the Hunger Games so special. They found up-and-coming actors like Daniel Radcliffe, Elijah Wood, and Oscar winner Jennifer Lawrence without big box office hit main roles when selected to play iconic bestseller book characters. I believe the same should be applied for live-action adaptations of video game characters. Make the actor fit the character/role, not the other way around. That is the key to success. A key detail to a bigger and better story than the games would allow, and the proper scale of the world, with as much practical effects and puppetry as possible, with CGI only used to complement everything that is physical. What we have listed here are keys to this movie's success. Going beyond what the games currently do with story, casting the right blend of A-listers and up-and-coming talent for the characters, and nailing the outdoor settings and temples that Zelda is renowned for. The proper care that is needed by the 40th anniversary in 2026. And those Sony Pictures and thread down my shoulder We have Nintendo with the final say and control, and that should be more than enough to deliver something that could reach the level of praise the games receive. Something that can stop me from generating AI concepts of what we could have got if the movie was animated by someone else or even made by Studio Ghibli, which naturally would not have happened. Why do I say this? As Zelda takes inspiration from Hayao Miyazaki, not the other way around. What are your thoughts about the live-action Zelda movie? Do you trust the selected, or just Nintendo, Zelda creator Shigeru Miyamoto? Sound off in a comment section down below. If you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell to make this important video more visible. Last but not least, a big thanks to all of you for watching and to our patreon.com/commonrealm patrons. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.